Hello, everybody. Hey, Melissa.
Hello.
And Linda's with us too?
Yes.
Okay. I don't see her on screen. I see her.
I hear her.
Linda, you there? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, it's 5:45, so I am just going to go ahead. It's 5:46. Go ahead and call a meeting of the Shutesbury Selectboard to order. And as usual, I'll just go through the agenda, which tonight we have minutes. We're moving the discussion of the hauling contract with Casella to 6 o'clock rather than 6:30. So we'll just do the fire chief, exchange that for the fire chief hiring process and hiring committee. Correct, Becky?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to review our warrant articles for annual town meeting. At 6:40, we have discussion about the Shutesbury Athletic Club's request to extend hours for live entertainment. The town administrator updates, and then after that, we will have an executive session to approve minutes of an executive session. And that is it for tonight. So I want to open it up for public comment. Tom, it looks like, yeah.
I'm sorry, before we do that, I'm realizing that all we're doing tonight about the SAC is talking about our plan to disseminate information and get people here for next week.
Oh, okay. All right. So good. Thanks for that clarification. Yeah, we can talk about that in a minute. Yeah, basically what we decided to do is send out a letter.
Correct.
To abutters about the request for the extension of time for live music. So, okay, good. So I want to open it up for public comment. Do we have anybody? Tom, it looks like you're the only person. Did you want to make any kind of public comment?
Actually, I just had a, can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Thanks. I just had a quick procedural question. During that discussion of the SAC tonight, will there be an opportunity for people to join that discussion, or would that be next week?
Yeah, well, what we're doing is we are sending out a letter to all, so it's kind of broad abutters, and we're asking to get, we prefer to get comments in writing, via email, because we just have a limit. Our agendas get like more and more crowded as the closer we get to town meeting. And so while this is an important discussion to have, we'd prefer to have as much in writing in advance of the meeting so we can report rather than ask, have a whole lot of people attending the meeting that night. We'll probably reserve a small amount of time that evening for people who, didn't have an opportunity to send us something in writing, but it will be pretty limited. So I would say if you have comments, we really strongly encourage you to put them in writing and submit them. And Linda, remind me, we asked that they be submitted to Becky, is that correct?
No, to select board.
The select board, okay.
Board,
So
selectboard@shutesbury.org.
yeah, okay. Yep.
So it won't be discussed any further tonight per the agenda, is that?
Yeah, I think pretty much, yeah. What we're going to do is just say this is the process we're going to go through.
Okay, I would just like to comment or question whether the abutters to whom the notice was sent were vetted for being in any sort of conflict of interest by virtue of being a board member or a club member, please.
It's abutters. There's no distinction between, if you're in a abutter who has some relationship with SAC, or you're in a abutter who has no relationship. So
were abutters asked to disclose whether they're members or board members of the SAC, or will the select board consider that fact.
You know, I think we'll see what we get back. How many people are getting the letter, Linda?
So we figured approximately a 2,000 foot radius. And so I can't recall the exact number, but I think that it's
About 50, I think.
about approximately 50. Yes, approximately.
Will that letter be available for people like myself who aren't in that range to review or look at?
Sure, it's it'll be a public document.
Uh-huh.
So you're welcome
Okay,
to
to
request it.
request it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for taking that time to talk to me. I really
Okay.
was here mostly for the SAC discussion.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Typically, we
That's all it
don't.
is tonight. I appreciate it. I'll send
Typically, we
comments
don't
if I
do an
need to.
exchange during public comment, and since you're the only person here, and we were covering this tonight, so
Thank
thanks.
you very much.
You're welcome.
Is it okay if I go on black screen and
Oh, sure.
listen? Okay, because
Absolutely.
it is interesting to listen to. Thank you. Okay.
Absolutely.
I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Okay, so we have, looks like no other public comment. We have the minutes from April 5th, 2022. No?
They're almost done, so not ready for tonight.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. All right, so we have no minutes for this evening then.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm just, you told Meryl 6 o'clock, right, Becky?
I did.
Okay. Is there anything that you would, should we have the SAC discussion now then about what the process is going to be since we have a few minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
So Linda put together the letter and sent it to Rita for review. I reviewed it as well. And you made a couple little changes.
Mhm.
Leslie worked quite a bit yesterday putting together a 2,000 foot radius. It's not one of the pop-up menu items like the, for Concom and planning board. So she had to get quite creative and put it out.
Does
Okay.
it go behind the SAC too? Like, does it
Yes,
go over to
it's
Montague
circle.
Road? So it's a circle all the way around. Okay, good.
Yes. We have a guest with a 90 with a phone number. Just like, Rita, do you want to?
Yeah. if
who it is?
Somebody could, yeah, if
By phone
you,
only,
the
that's
person who's calling in on a 904, just identify yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Leah Jack. I'm a resident of Shutesbury.
Oh, okay. Leah, your last name is?
Jack, J-A-C-K.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so that letter, so you got all the names based on the
Yes.
2,000 foot, okay. And the letter will go out through the
Yeah.
USPS?
It'll go out in the mail, hopefully tomorrow. If you're able to come in and sign it, Becky, then everything's ready to go. I'll just make the copies once you've signed it and the envelopes are all ready, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
and would it make sense to?
Not me. Sorry. Rita.
I'll sign it, yeah. Would it make sense to post it on, that we sent this out so that other people from town, like on the homepage?
Should, do a town announce that includes it as well?
Sure,
Okay.
okay.
And Rita, I know the woman who just called in, Leah Jack, had
Yeah.
sent me an email with a request for some information. I was wondering if it would be all right if I just answer her a question, because I've been Hi, Leah, this is Becky Torres. How are you? Are you on the phone?
She's muted.
Oh, here she comes.
Sorry, I muted myself. But yes, hi, I'm here. I'm doing well.
Okay.
Thanks.
I had read your request just over the weekend, and I know you asked for the budget and a copy of our expense report and a reconciliation. I just wanted you to know I followed up with the accountant. We normally don't, it's unusual for anyone to ask for a cash reconciliation. So I followed up with the accountant and I have those documents ready to send you tomorrow. So I just wanted to
Awesome.
do that. Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Leah, you're welcome to stay. You might want to just take your hand down if you have no other questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rita.
Okay, no problem. All right, so that letter I'll come in the morning and then sign it, then it'll be mailed, and then we'll do a town announce, just letting folks know
Yeah.
that this is what we're doing. Okay. And then I guess we should probably, well, if people read it, they'll know that we're gonna have this on the April 26th agenda, and that we're trying to get as many comments as possible in writing in advance of that meeting, rather than have, again, a long discussion, debate at that April meeting. And we'll just have to work on the agenda to make sure we have time, because yeah, it will be a,
I think next week is going to be quite a bit fuller than, I mean,
yeah,
26.
yeah, the
Just
26th, yeah,
some important things happening.
yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to check off things here. Becky, is there any quick, maybe I should just
I
give a
could
quick.
do some town, do you want me, oh, I'm sorry. I keep
No, I was
interrupting.
going to say I could just give a quick update about the thing I went to on Saturday.
That would be great.
So Mass Municipal Association has this Western Mass the select board meeting, which I attended on Saturday. And I said to Becky, I'm not normally one to like say, oh yeah, let me take half my Saturday, go to East Hampton. But it did look like, Becky said, it looks like a really good agenda. And it was. And there were a couple of just takeaways for me, which, I talked to Becky about following up on. And one was a lot of discussion about ARPA and the ARPA money, and kind of what towns, especially smaller towns, should be doing vis-a-vis the ARPA money, which is the federal relief money that we're getting. And I think we've already gotten some. I think the second tranche comes in this summer. And anyway, and Linda Dunleavy, who's head of Franklin Council of Governments, Franklin Regional Council of Governments, and I spoke to her and just suggested that maybe FERCog could do something, especially for smaller towns, because all this stuff, like the state isn't involved. A lot of it comes directly from the Treasury, and the Treasury, there's like, people are saying there's nobody home at the Treasury to help you if you have questions. So Linda agreed, and I think she's gonna be speaking with the town administrators meet with FERCog on a quarterly basis, and she said she would bring it up. And so that was really useful. It was really good, I think, to hear that we're in the same boat as a lot of other communities. And then just a couple of other things. There's some legislation which I would love to have the select board weigh in on. I've got to find it. And it's just about creating a new financing mechanism for municipally owned buildings. And so just like we have school building authority and we have MBLC for the libraries, there's a bill before the legislature to create a direct stream of funding for municipal buildings. And so that is something that I think is, would be worth our while to weigh in on, as well as, I believe it's some legislation around, that Natalie and other folks are pushing around infrastructure, dirt roads in particular. So stuff that's near and dear to our heart. So those were kind of my big takeaways from it, but all the information, the presentations are available. I think we were sent a link. So if you get a chance to take a look at it, as I said, the ARPA one was really good. There was somebody from Holyoke, which is like way out of our league. They're getting $30 million, but I think she had some really good points. And the one other kind of really important takeaway from the presentations were made was that it behooves us to obligate the money sooner rather than later, because there's going to be more and more pressure to claw the money back. There already was an attempt very recently by Congress to take money back because it hasn't been spent, and that is going to continue to happen. So it's really in our self-interest to be thinking right now about how we're going to spend our ARPA money, and to get it obligated. Absolutely has to be obligated by the end of 2024 and has to be spent by the end of 2026. But obligated means like contracts by 2024. But don't wait. Basically, the advice was don't wait until
Wait.
then. Yeah. So I thought that was probably worth the price of admission. Any questions, Eric or Melissa?
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
I just,
muted.
How much money are we getting?
it's a little over 500,000, right,
That's what I
Becky?
thought, yeah.
It's about 565.
A little more than over 500. Yeah, almost $600,000. It's a lot of money. And because it's less than $10 million, we have a lot of flexibility. If you get over $10 million, you are subject to a whole lot more. You have to basically demonstrate that you're using the money to replace money you lost because of COVID. We don't, because we're under $10 million. We don't have that restriction, and that's why we have a lot more flexibility. But you have both clawback and the other piece of advice was full documentation. Every dollar that we spend, we should be fully documenting what we're spending. The woman from Holyoke again basically said, I have files for everything, and then not just electronic files. I have paper files for every decision that's made and how it was made and how the money was allocated. So
Is that, Rita, because they thought they might audit this at some point?
oh yeah, it will be audited. Yes. For sure. Whether they get to us in 5 or 10 years, we might be on the 10 list, but yes, there's a feeling this will be audited.
Be audited, okay.
Do we have a sense of when FERCog might actually sort of have this informational, whatever you want to call it, session or?
When is, when are you meeting with them?
Actually, the TA quarterly meeting is tomorrow between 9 and 11.
And then, what I asked Linda was that they do something for the town. So I think she's going to talk to you guys about it. I thought they were best suited to really help, to help the communities with this. So, okay. So Meryl has joined us, and for those of you who are just joining us, we've moved to the 6:30 agenda item up till now. And thank you, Meryl, for coming. So we thought we were going to be approving a contract this evening, but apparently negotiations have still been underway. So Meryl, do you want to tell us about that and kind of what we can expect?
Yes, sure. I don't think it's really negotiations so much at this point. I think just Casella needs to review it one more time before they sign on the dotted line.
Oh, okay.
At least that's what I heard from Becky. I didn't speak with them myself, but that's what it sounded like to me. But we did have one more negotiating session, and that had to do with really understanding the fuel adjustment clause in the contract. They proposed one that's different than the one that we had proposed. And a key piece of that is the floor dollar value for the gallon base price that you start with. And when we did the RFP, the request for proposal, months and months and months ago, the number that we used was, I think, 256 or 276, which at that time, the recommendation was to look at a year prior to the start of the contract to get an average diesel price. Well, we all know the number's gone mental since then. It's really escalated. And they came back in their contract recently with a base price of $3.50. So they had much better and much more current information, and we thought that number was a little on the low side. But we honestly didn't have a tremendous amount of bargaining power, so we tried to encourage them to up that number closer to the current price of $5 a gallon. And they basically said they can't go there, but they did increase the price from their $3.50 to $4, which to me was very generous of them in reality. And I think Becky will attest to that, and Gary as well. We didn't want to push it too much because honestly, we didn't have that many options for a trash hauler. And this one was so much more preferable to the other bid we got that we wanted to accept this bid. So we could only push so much. So, I mean, nobody has a crystal ball to know where diesel price is going to be. I ran some more of these numbers, and with their new amount that they gave us, if we estimate the price to be at about $5.20 for the whole year, and that's really high, then we could have a charge to the town in the range of $5,000, $4,700. That to me is like a worst case scenario, and I'm hoping it goes back down, but we just really don't know. And in fact, there's not a whole lot we can do about it because we can't bankrupt our hauler. We've done that before, but we don't want to make a habit of it. And we really had no strong grounds for negotiating that price significantly differently from what we did. And in fact, we felt that they were very fair with us to go up to $4 as their base price for the formula. And so we strongly still recommend that the town sign this contract as soon as we can get it. So if you could vote to sign the contract, saying that everything that we agreed upon, and Becky's aware of what those things are, the $4 base price for the fuel, the 4% increase per year for the annual hauling costs, et cetera, then I would love to get this thing signed, sealed, and delivered as soon as possible because we just need that reassurance for the town.
Becky?
If possible, if the select board could vote to sign prior to the contract, since it's not finished yet, a letter of award. If you're comfortable at this point doing that, given if the contract that comes forward has no changes from the terms outlined by Merrill just a few minutes ago, that would be very helpful. And that leaves them no more room for changes because that would be the terms of the letter of award.
And the contract is signed by you, is that?
It's
Are you,
actually
Becky?
signed by, no, the contract at this point, I still have the select board sign major contracts.
Okay, so, but the letter of award
I could,
is,
it can be signed, I can sign that, or you can sign that. Because it's not, it's not
It's not the contract.
like the contract.
okay, all right.
And that's both a short contract from mid-April through the end of the end of the fiscal year that was for the disposal site, which since CEP went out of business, as well as the big hauling contract that includes disposal for FY23.
They voted that last week, or, yeah.
We voted that for this year.
Okay,
For the
just
disposal.
signing it though, yeah.
Okay, all
And
right.
I want to mention again on that other one, we are getting a really good price on the tipping fee. Other towns who are much bigger and have groups going in are getting $93 a tipping price, and we're getting 90. So I'm really happy that they want our business.
I think it's 93.50, isn't it?
I haven't seen, I just heard 93, but maybe it's 93.50, yeah.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So we sign an award letter tonight and we still need, if we would vote to sign an award letter. And does that mean we don't need another vote to sign the contract?
Well, you already voted to sign the
We
contract.
did vote to sign the contract, okay.
So, yeah.
Really? And Linda's saying no.
No, they
Well,
voted,
no, I don't think
they
we
voted
did.
the tipping fee at the last
yeah.
meeting, but not
We were
not the
waiting.
hauling.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the final numbers on the contract, and it sounds like you have those now.
Okay.
You
Yes.
have the fuel escalator, right?
Yes.
So do we need
A motion.
a motion to,
Call me crazy, but don't we want to see the contract before we sign it? I mean, I don't think really anything will change, but I mean, I don't know. It seems to me responsible to just to see it.
It's there's a sample of it in our RFP, and I'm guessing that that's what they're going to use. And I agree with you, you want to see it. However, what you're doing is agreeing to sign it and approve the contract based on meeting all of the individual items we agreed on, the 4% per year, et cetera. So if they don't meet that, it's not approved.
so we
it's
would not sign the
contingent.
contract?
It's contingent, correct. So you're approving signature contingent upon the sample contract they get meeting, the various agreements that we made that are different than their proposal.
Why don't we just wait till the next meeting? I mean, it's every indication is this is all good, but as Eric is sort of pointing out, they're still looking it over, right? And
They're
we've got-
I'm just so nervous. I want to get this thing signed.
No, I understand. We're gonna do it. But it would be good to have it back from them.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless
I
we-
personally feel just a little uncomfortable with signing a contract for could be ultimately a lot of money that I've never seen. And I'm not saying I have complete faith in the committee and the process and everything. Don't get me wrong, but it seems it just seems, even if we had to have a special meeting to sign it, I mean, that's fine with me.
Yeah,
That was my
I-
suggestion.
I understand the notion of wanting to get it done and all that. Don't get me wrong, I get that too. Anyway,
Did they have a timeline for when they might get it to us?
Hopefully, he said tomorrow or the next day.
why don't we just do a special meeting then to sign it as soon as we have it? I know. I'm sorry, Becky.
Just kill me now.
Like a morning meeting. We've done these before, Becky. We've done a morning.
Well,
meeting
yeah.
at
No, we,
7:30.
no, never mind. Wait,
But you still need 48 hours after that to sign it.
Right, we do.
oh, but you're
Let's
already.
post one
meeting
today
before-
for Friday morning.
We're good, we're good. I posted a meeting today for the personnel issue. Oh, but I can't make it earlier. On the 14th, we already have a short meeting on Thursday night. So
we
if
slip this into that?
everybody, if the finance committee and personnel board don't mind if you take a vote, quick vote at the beginning of the meeting, and hopefully I'll have the information, if the contract information is all settled, I'll get it to you ahead of the meeting. If it is not, then we'll have to shoot for early next week.
Okay, that sounds good. Do you need to go put it on the agenda?
I-
6:15.
Would you like me to be at that meeting as well, or do I not need to be?
No, I don't think you need to be.
All right, so I'm gonna try to do a little, yeah, I have time to set it at, let's see, the meeting's starting at 6:30. We changed it
Right.
back to 6:30, so I can try to I'll go do that for 6:20. If you all don't mind.
No, we have 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll work on that right now.
all right.
Okay. So.
Sorry to be such a pain about this. But it
No,
just seems-
Eric was a guy
Totally
who probably signed a
understand.
lot of contracts, so.
I've been in business a long time and you don't want to sign something if you have not seen it. It's like,
I
that's silly.
understand too. Yeah.
I think Meryl is just reacting because this same contract has been used 3 times by 3 different select boards. And Donna has approved it, and so it's, for the recycling committee, it's not new. So I think,
Right.
Yeah.
And I
All
understand
right.
you want to get it signed so that there's no
Yes.
changing of
We'll
mind.
do it.
I
We'll-
just lose sleep because this is so important to the town. It's like
Yes.
unbelievably important. We've worked so hard to get to this point. I don't want anything to mess it up.
Thursday
Right.
night.
Perfectly understood.
Days we can handle.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Are you
All
all
right,
set,
thank
Becky,
you.
with getting that on the agenda?
just another minute. I've just got in the right software. I have to sign in and stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you wonderful people. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Meryl.
Meryl.
Thanks for
Thank
all
you,
your
Meryl.
hard work
Bye.
again. All right, we'll just wait a minute here while.
Sure.
Just in case some folks have joined us, we already took a couple of items that were posted as later on the agenda, including the discussion about the Shutesbury Athletic Club, and the select board is not making any decision this evening regarding the extension of the hours for live entertainment. What we are doing is we are sending out a letter to abutters who are within 2,000 feet of the SAC and notifying them that that there's been an application made to extend the time for live music and asking people to submit comments in writing. We'll be taking this up at the April 26th meeting, and what we're trying to do is to get as many comments as possible in writing prior to that meeting, because we'll have a limited amount of time, so we're not going to have a lengthy public hearing that night, but we will have a limited amount of time in case for some reason somebody was not able to submit something in writing, and there's a letter going out. Linda's prepared a letter. It will be mailed tomorrow, notifying folks. And also it will go out as a town announce so that the wider community will know that this is happening. So folks will both get, who are on town announce will get an email, and there'll be something in the mail to we believe about 50 households, Linda, something in that neighborhood, 50 households who are within 2,000 feet of the SAC. So Becky, it looks like you're all set.
Yep.
So on then Thursday evening, we will then have a vote finally on the Casella contract, assuming that we have the final contract back from Casella. And that's an add-on to a meeting that the select board is having with the finance committee. So it'll be just at 6:20, correct, Becky?
Yes.
Okay, then we have a 6:30 meeting. Okay, so sorry, we're kind of jumping around here this evening. I apologize, as we had sort of more time, we kind of moved things around on the agenda a little bit. So we have to talk about the fire chief's hiring process and review warrant articles for annual town meeting. Is there any? What's your pleasure about, what do we take? Well, I guess the fire chief's hiring process was set up before the warrant article. So why don't we just go through that?
Okay. As a major department head, we need to appoint a hiring committee for the fire chief. The select board needs to consider hiring a committee. And then we need to work on, put together an ad. And as soon as we can figure out the hiring, I'll put the calendar together. I'm hoping depending on we could start to advertise ahead of appointing the committee. We could go out to advertise next week around the 20th for, maybe put the ad in 3 times through the 29th of April. And if I get direction tonight on how you want to put together how you want to appoint the hiring committee, I can get working on that so the committee could start meeting in the beginning of May. The position will have been advertised. And then I can work with the hiring committee on a calendar, making sure they have an organizational meeting and a screening meeting, and then setting up time for interviews. And hopefully we'll have enough candidates to have a couple rounds of interviews, but you never know. And try to, if all goes well, potentially conclude the last week in May, or that's the hope. If we can find somebody by the last week in May, I think we'll be in good shape. I know there's a call to have a little bit of overlap, but I'm not, if we could have a couple weeks or a week of overlap, I think that would be good. Any thoughts about about appointing the hiring committee? What experience would you like to see? Typically, we would have probably the police chief, because the departments are so close. Traditionally, we've had select board and finance committee, personnel board representation, as well as professionals in the field.
Professionals who are not town residents, or professionals
who are town residents, like that work in, it might be a fire chief in another town, or.
Do we have anybody in town who's a?
Yeah.
We do. Oh,
Kramer.
yes. Okay, so you mentioned the police chief, select board, personnel committee, finance committee, and then a professional from town. So 5 people. I mean, 5 people seems.
And maybe 2 residents.
I know Elaine Paleo was interested, as she sent us a letter asking to be appointed to that committee. So I throw that out there.
And
she was on the committee. Yes.
Right, okay. So 2 residents, all right. So
I
that
have
sounds good. Go ahead, Melissa.
I have a question that may not be specifically for this, so let me know if it doesn't quite fit in. Will the firefighters be able to meet any of the finalists for the position? Because I think it's important to get their input since they'll be working directly with the person. I don't know. I'm just tossing it out there.
We could have well, typically we're going to have, the interviews are open in the final rounds or round. So it could be a good time. Maybe we can have an interview and coffee and donuts. or, so people would have an opportunity to chat and talk for a little bit.
I think
that
their
would-
input might be important since they're, this is their leader, their leadership too. Anyway, that may not fit in with the search committee itself or the hiring committee, but
So maybe we
Part
could
of the
leave that up
process.
to that would be a good thing for the hiring committee to,
yeah, part of the process.
to talk about for the process. Yeah.
No, that's fine. I didn't know if it fit there or not. It was just a thought.
Yeah, and it might be
Yeah.
a professional in town, could be a firefighter from our department. I'm not sure. Typically you don't have people hiring their boss. But it's up to the select board. To.
I've had, in my personal experience, I have interviewed the person that will be my boss in 3 occasions,
Nice.
but that's academia. That's different. So,
How large were the hiring, was it a hiring committee?
yeah, it was actually, they sat down and did full interview with all the staff that would be underneath them.
Oh, great.
Mhm.
And that could be another approach, instead of having coffee. I don't know. We haven't done it that way before, but we can always try something new.
Just a thought, and then like Rita said, maybe something for the hiring committee to put together a process, that might include something like that.
Some sort of way of, of the firefighters to meet the candidates. And then,
Yeah.
so what do we need to do this evening? We, obviously some of these, we need representatives. I mean, the police chief, straightforward, but then from personnel, maybe somebody want to volunteer from the select board to be on the hiring committee? Don't all jump up at once.
I'm just finishing up the police study group.
I know you are. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I can do it. I can do it if no one else can. I can do it.
Okay. I know I'm gonna be out of town some in May.
What, do you want to have Eric and then a backup if Eric can't go?
Yeah, then I guess I could do it. Is
Or no,
that
Becky, does
is
that
that a
not work?
problem? Yeah, I don't want to have 2 people, just,
It's not at the same time, right? Just if one can't, that person shows up for,
as a sub.
yeah,
You see that as a problem?
alternative.
Yeah,
It's not a problem. It's, we just have, if you're never there at the same time, but if you're
Right.
listed, but then if you're both listed as committee members.
then we
Then
have an open
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, right, okay,
I
meeting.
wouldn't do that. I think it's just do
All
it the old fashioned way.
okay. If
And
if you
Eric,
don't-
are you traveling in May?
Not that I know of. I mean, that would take me away from something as exciting as that.
Okay. So if for some reason you have to drop it, Eric, I know we're going to Minnesota and our new.
Yeah, no,
grandchild
I
is
should be able to do
around.
it. I mean, I might be gone for a weekend or something, but I'm not planning on going on big trips or anything.
Okay. All right, so Eric will represent the select board, and then we need to solicit to, do we just want to get, I mean, Elaine's already indicated she's interested. Do we want to solicit from the community to see if there are any other people who are interested in serving on the? So put out a town announce.
Yeah, I would
Something
think
up
we
on the
would.
website.
Yeah, I mean, I would have no problem with appointing Elaine and whoever else that may be, whoever else want. The reason Elaine is just, she was on the committee, the study committee, so
Right,
she's up on the
right.
whole fire chief thing in many
Right.
ways.
right. So maybe we go ahead and appoint Elaine and then ask if there's another person from the community. Is that,
And-
Melissa? Go ahead, Becky.
How do you want to approach finding a professional fire person? I know, Melissa, you said the one person we know for sure.
Pelham Fire Chief lives in Shutesbury.
Yeah. And is there anyone else that you know of?
Might have to think about that.
Or how about I talk to Walter about it and get a recommendation?
You may know someone in town, definitely. Yeah,
that's a
the
good
only
idea.
one I could think of was just Ray, but
Okay. So I wrote down Ray's name and I'll speak to Walter and get a recommendation from,
yeah, he may know of others that live in town that are fire professionals.
Fighter somewhere else, yeah.
And then I would, somehow we should notify the FinCom and the
Personnel committee.
Personnel Committee that we were looking for a representative. I'm not quite sure how we want to do that, but
I can.
Well, we have a meeting on Thursday.
there you go.
Everyone is there.
So personnel committee will be there too. Okay.
That's
why
good.
don't
No,
we
that's a
mention
very,
it then?
very good point. Yeah, right. That'll work.
Kill a few birds with one stone, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Great.
just have meetings all the time. We'll always be able to make decisions.
Just schedule something like every other night and then
Right.
we'll be able
Yeah,
to
eventually-
conduct all of
yeah.
our business. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you for Eric for volunteering to represent the select board. Okay, are you good with that, Becky?
Yep. Thank you so much.
All right. So the next item on the agenda is to review the warrant articles for our annual town meeting. And I know that we went through this the last time. Is there anything new? I know we have two, I see Michael DeCara is here. We have two zoning articles that we know about. Anything else that we are,
The new article that will be going on the warrant with your approval is a potentially a debt excluded override for the library.
okay. All right, and anything else?
Outside of the zoning articles, which just arrived, which is great. Michael wrapped them up. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
So just procedurally, if you're ready, you can, you would receive the articles from the planning board and then send them back to the planning board so that they can conduct their public hearing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we vote to receive the articles
Mhm.
and then refer them back to the planning board. Okay,
Right, Michael?
Yeah,
All right.
it's a quick two-step.
For a motion, I'll make a motion that we receive the articles from the planning board for the ZBA composition and energy storage and return them to the planning board for their public hearing process.
do I hear a
Second.
second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion about the planning board articles?
The only question I have is the copy I have says draft on it. Is that not true anymore?
I didn't intentionally take it off. It's Donna approved, which is the most important thing. So I think once we get through the hearing, we probably make it final. Because there's always a chance that we can tweak something because there's input at the public hearing. Is that a correct assessment, Linda, you think?
I don't remember.
I'll just take it off the draft. How's that?
Yeah, I can't remember what, if there can be changes. Yeah.
We did make change, like with signs, we made it up
Right.
until the last minute.
Right,
Yeah.
that's right, until it goes to the warrant.
Yeah.
Okay, So that would come back to us. Those articles would come back to be placed on the warrant. Is that correct?
Well, you just know that they're there. So it's
Okay.
it's a weird thing. I mean, my assumption is the reason you have to receive it and send it back is just that you're aware that it's happening.
Okay,
But there's no approval process.
right.
which
We're
is-
not approving it. You're
Yeah.
just putting it on. Okay,
And we're not actually voting on it until after the public, like we voted to send it to you, but then the planning board waits till after the public hearing and then we vote to approve. So if
Okay.
that makes sense.
And then it has to be approved at town meeting.
Right,
Right, okay.
yeah.
So the time period that you can't alter it is between the public hearing and town meeting, right?
Well, after we vote to approve it, so public hearing, we get input. Based on that, we might rejigger something and then we vote and say, this is what we're submitting in the warrant. You know, it's always nice to not have any changes. And Donna's going to be at the hearing on May 9th. So if there's any changes, it's built in that Donna will, you know, approve whatever we tweak. So we'd all have a level of confidence that that's okay. But once that's approved, we'll write it up in warrant form and send it to you and Linda, I guess, Becky. Or I could do it in advance, but that seems sort of premature.
It could change, so I
Yeah.
can put the draft, so maybe the one you have given us as draft is appropriately named until you officially approve it, right?
That's sort of my thinking.
Okay,
so if you're not having the public hearing to May 9th, that's less than 2 weeks before town meeting.
Well, the requirement is actually more about notice. So you have to have it.
I'm just
You
thinking
have-
if you're changing it after, then it's gonna be after, if you're changing it after the hearing, then it's
Well, we're
not gonna be.
changing. Well, we would change it in response to the hearing.
But then it would be not on the warrant that way, because the warrant will be published before May 9th.
That's possibly true. I mean, I can't remember what it was, but like maybe 2 years ago, we had the hearing like earlier in the week before
Yeah.
town meeting. So it's always that
A
close.
little late,
but
yeah.
you didn't,
We're doing good now. We're planning a month ahead.
But you're still not 2 weeks before town, you're still not in time to have it done for the warrant.
What,
if
you
you
want it
were
easy?
so you won't
Excuse
be able, so if it's in the warrant the same way that as the draft is now, it would be best not, you shouldn't change it until town meeting.
It would be
Oh,
changed
okay.
on town meeting floor. Right,
Okay,
You would need
Okay.
to amend it on town meeting floor.
okay. We've done that too. So we could do that.
So
Sure.
in that case, this is not a draft. This is, right? I mean,
Yeah, we'll assume it's not, as of today, it's the draft. When we meet on May 9th, I mean, we're not going to meet until then, so we can't finalize it, but I can say we won't change it because we've seen it and everyone was fine with it. So we sent it to you with the expectation it wouldn't change. So
So if you'll get me a copy without draft on it for the warrant,
I can do that.
okay,
then we'll
That's
be
an
all
easy
set.
thing.
that'd
You
be great.
know,
Okay, so now that we have that all cleared up, so a motion's been made and seconded that we refer this back to the planning board so that they can move ahead with their public hearing process. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Make peace O'Neill, aye.
Docker, I.
Farrell, aye. Thanks,
Thank-
Michael.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Off to my next meeting. See ya.
I'll be there at some point.
Good, great.
Okay, so anything else other than the debt exclusion override article for?
Not that I know of yet, but the big changes will come on Thursday, and so at our next meeting, it should be complete. The warrant should be just about complete.
Okay, and then would we be reviewing the warrant at our next meeting?
The 20th,
Or be after that?
I think we're gonna, we could, actually, we could.
We've got a lot of stuff in that meeting already, I think, don't we?
Yeah, it's just a question of, again, the warrant has to be posted
Right.
by, that's the last meeting that we're having before the last scheduled meeting that we're having before the posting of the warrant, correct, Linda?
I don't,
Yeah. You're the keeper of the,
Yeah.
keeper of the calendar.
Well, this one I was working on, so.
Becky's got it, not me.
Okay.
This is, so I think we might want to go with Eric's advice and have a meeting every other day. But-
Speaking of that, can I just ask a very quick question? I mean, this second one, the second article that Michael talked about, have we now sent that back to, or do we have to? Did we just do one of them, or did we do both?
No,
of
it's
them?
both of them.
No, I mentioned both in the
yeah.
motion.
In the motion.
Okay, great, thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
So I guess the question is, are we doing the entire warrant at the April 26th meeting, or do we have a meeting between that and the, the actual posting of the warrant?
On the 3rd. We might want to schedule a meeting for the
3rd,
3rd.
and that's,
An early meeting at 5:30 if possible, or 5 if possible. If Melissa, can you check your schedule?
What date was that? Just give me one. What
May
date was that?
3rd.
Yeah, May 3rd, because there's a finance committee meeting there. If we could do a 5:30 to 6:30 or 5 to 6:30 meeting.
Yeah, hang on one second. I'm pulling up my work schedule right now. I am remote.
Beautiful.
Eric, does that day work for you, Tuesday, May 3rd?
Yeah, I said every other day. I wasn't kidding.
You weren't kidding, okay. All right.
Yeah, no,
We'll
that's
just schedule
fine.
one every other day and then decide if we need to hold it or not.
That's right.
Okay,
That's fine.
okay. All
You
right,
said
that's
5:30,
fine
right?
for me.
At 5.
5:30, 5:03
At
at
5, I'm
5.
sorry.
5
Have fun.
o'clock?
How about 5:01? I'll pop on 5:01 at the latest.
Okay,
Okay.
5 o'clock. Okay, and the agenda for that will be going through the final warrant.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anything else about annual town meeting? Or are we done with that?
I think we're done for now.
Okay. All right, so we are, we'll do town administrator updates, and then the last item will be going into executive session to review and vote on the final minutes from a previous executive session.
Yes. Okay, town administrator updates. I just want to be sure that you all saw the letter that came in from the region from Doug Slaughter regarding free cash, their free cash account, the E&D account for the region. They had money, a great deal of money left over this year, and they are returning $38,898 to the town of Shutesbury. Which will go into our free cash this year.
That's great.
Yeah.
We need it.
All right.
It never hurts. You never know what's going to happen next. The other issue I wanted to talk about was just that we're going to need another executive session, maybe hopefully for Eric, another meeting.
Oh, boy.
For the easement at the lot, the Mary Clark lot, that we've had numerous executive sessions. We have one more discussion issue that has come up that will require another executive session.
So how soon are we, what are we talking about doing that on the 26th?
Let's see how full the 26 ends up.
Yeah, if we can push it out.
We can push it out as
Yeah, okay.
we're in year 9.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
that should be okay.
okay.
And I just wanted to make sure you all saw coming into your email. I know it came in regular mail as well, that the MBLC grant award not to exceed $6 million for 75% of actual eligible cost of construction of a new library, determined by the small libraries pilot project process. The letter came in on the 7th of April.
And I just have a point of clarification about that letter, just because we're talking about this number of people in my Cooleyville here were talking about it yesterday. And there was some question about whether it's 5 million or 6 million. I know the letter says 6 million. So I don't know where this notion of 5 million is coming from, but that's the notion that I heard discussed last night.
Okay, so
So-
it's not to exceed 5 million. The current estimate, the way it breaks, the current estimate is 8.3 million. And it's basically 3.3 million currently to the town and 5 million currently, a little bit over 5 million in grant reimbursement money or grant money. So that's probably where the 5 million came from, Eric, but the actual wording and what was said at the MBLC meeting was that they would pay up to $6 million.
Yeah, that's what I was saying last night. I said, no, it's 6 million, not 5 million.
Right.
You know, so I just want to make sure I was saying the right thing.
Right, but it's still just 75% of the.
Yes. Not
right.
to
So I think they were
exceed.
giving themselves some room there.
Right.
And the Otis project is $9 million. So their 75% is likely close to $6 million. And until, if Shutesbury were not to approve the matching funds, Otis gets a try. They're next in line. So I'm sure they can't, they can't change that amount. So they're betting on Otis or, in case they come in case we
And
don't.
here's a stupid question, but I'll throw it out there. Can ARPA money be used for this?
From what
It
I.
has been in other, Fitchburg is using it. Yeah. So it could be.
Okay. All right. That's good to know, I guess, or whatever. It's out there. Be
Yeah.
good to be very clear about that. That's all.
And it might fall into that FY24 timeline for spending it. I mean, that's the other piece you have to be careful of too, right?
Right. It's obligating it.
Well,
by the end of
obligating it. You can spend it up till 2026, right?
26, right. The actual cash out the door, right, but it's
Right.
like under contract. Yeah.
Right. Well, that should be possible if that were to come to that, I would see.
Yep.
I just throw it out there. I'm not advocating, I'm just asking, curious, that's all.
No, we're collecting as much information as we can now.
Okay, anything else, Becky?
I guess the last concern, it's more of a concern I just wanted to bring up in the, is that there seems to be a number of COVID cases cropping out again. And I think we're fine with our plans for town meeting and that shouldn't impact it. But I have, I've been having concerns that, around our town meeting, things might not be as safe as they have been. The Board of Health currently is not planning on being active at the town meeting. They feel like their work has run its course. They will come and help assemble all their tents that they now have and be part of the tent raising crew. But other than that, they are not going to be, drawing lines on the lawn to space out chairs or wiping off the microphones like they have in the last 2 years. So I just wanted to be mindful of the fact that things could get worse again, and just if you think of any concerns or that we might need to address at town meeting if things do get worse.
Can we ask them to come to that, at least do a quick check-in at that, what are we schedule in May, at the May 3rd meeting?
May 3rd.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to have, just,
To see in case. that-
yeah,
change.
yeah, in case there's something that's changed, yeah.
Okay. Because they're not, because their plans aren't to be active. So
Unless when, so we have a meeting the 26th of 3rd, and then I guess we'll be meeting on the 10th, because we meet again on the 10th, right?
Yeah.
Maybe at the 10th,
yeah, because I think it'll be last minute
closer,
concerns.
the closer we are, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
What are the plans right now? I mean, in other words,
None.
are people gonna have to wear masks, or is there any kind of, are there any plans for that kind of thing?
The CDC guidance that Catherine was quoting is that people that are compromised should continue wearing masks. But they are not requiring masks for other people. Well, they're not requiring masks at all, just to take care of yourself. They're advising that you take care of yourself. So they aren't, they aren't recommending, they're not discouraging us from continuing to encourage people to wear masks, but in no way is it like it was before, where it was, a grave concern if people weren't wearing masks because of the percentage of people, especially in Shutesbury, are vaccinated. It's a very high number. But the outbreaks keep coming and people are still getting sick.
so let's have that conversation with them on the 10th,
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
be enough time. Okay, so we are going to have an executive session. Do we adjourn? I'm just trying to remember the process for
We
this.
can make a motion to not return to the meeting.
Not return, okay. So do I hear a motion to not return to this open select board meeting?
So you can adjourn the open session and enter, right? And enter.
In the same vote, okay.
Mhm.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn the select board meeting and convene an executive session for reason number 1? To discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health, rather than professional competence of an individual, or discuss the discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. In particular, to discuss a complaint against a public officer, a member of the Historical Commission. And the reason for this executive session is to review and vote on final minutes. So do I hear?
And before we say, do we want to return to open session or no? We'll be done.
And we will not return. to
Not
open
return.
session.
You'll want to add that, Stan. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Do
So
I
moved.
hear- Okay, thank you. That was a long motion.
It was.
Is there a second?
Can you repeat? No, just kidding.
Wise guy,
second.
there's always one in the room. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say, yeah, this is a voice vote. With your name, please. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker eye.
Farrell, aye. Okay, so anybody who's here has to, other than the select board, Becky, and has to leave. Thank you. Good night.
Okay.
Okay. So Linda, I know I picked up the minutes. Yep.
Yep, so now though, we have to do the, Becky has to say that the waiting room has been enabled and that recording is stopped.
The waiting room has been